Welcome back. This is week 2, and it was a short week, so I had 1 day less. All right, so basically this week kind of continued the downward trend. Really, you can see by Friday or Thursday, we were almost neutral on the week. We were basically here, and then Friday kind of just gave the last leg. That was mostly due to the bad job number we had. So I'm kind of out of control, but it did lead to a further decrease. Um, Last quarter I checked, it was around. We were around the exact same. We were negative 1.86, I think. Um, so we were on the same level in the second week last quarter. So it's interesting. Over here, it's kind of like an opposite diagram. Past week we did end around here. Last this week and a bit lower. But last week we were just neutral. Comparison to Nasdaq, so you can see Nasdaq actually recovered a lot of its losses on Friday, so it's kind of still moving upwards. This week it did gain quite a bit. We outperformed 2 out of the 4 days, so it was fine. And then overall, we are quite high for Nasdaq 67. SPY, it's looking. It did lose a bit more, but not as extreme. Nvidia and other companies did lose a lot more. From where we started, Nvidia's lost around like 6%, so it's quite a bit. In the semiconductors, it has lost quite a bit. That's why I didn't really start. I didn't start this quarter by going into the semiconductors. So I switched that, and now I've closed that position. So I was a bit disappointed how it was going. We were doing quite well with it over here. Then I decided to close it. For over here, we were doing pretty well. We did have a really good gain, and I was gaining quite well. And then it just kind of gave back, and now came back, went back, gained, lost. So I was like, all right, just close it. It wasn't going as I expected, so I closed it for I think around a 5% loss on that position, so it was all right. Over here you have SPY. SPY 0.31, not as high as Nasdaq. Overall it's 2.9, so nothing crazy. We're at 56% of days outperforming. Dow hasn't done as well. You can see it did lose more on Friday. Negative overall, it's negative 2.4, or this week negative 2.4. And overall it's a negative 3.6. So everything's kind of neutral, except I guess you could say QQQ is a bit higher. But we're also close to neutral. Negative 1.88 is almost within our standard deviation, so it's not anything out of the ordinary. Here you have everything, so you can see Nasdaq leading, then SPY, and then Dow. All right. Overall negative 2.1 each day. So this is kind of what I mean. Friday was kind of bad. We did outperform Monday or Tuesday. Then Wednesday, kind of weird too. Thursday we did fine, and then Friday was kind of the bad day. It wasn't that good. And then you can see there's mostly red. However, we aren't losing that much, so that's kind of good though. That like we have had mostly red days, but we're not down that much. We're only down almost negative 2. Over here, you can see this is kind of what I mean. We do have mostly red days, but we are gaining a bit more, around 30% more on our green days, so that's good. But it's still around 34% more. So that's good. Our gains are quite a bit higher than our losses. Standard deviation is 1.3, so this is kind of what I mean. We could have 1 or 2 days and then go up and then already be outperforming, so nothing to worry about. Last quarter we were on negative 1.8, and before the earnings report I had, it was around 12% up, and then after that was around 20 something, so around 21. Yeah. So we just started, not much to worry about. 4.7 and negative 5.1. So SPY isn't doing that well. It is going to new all-time highs, but its risk ratios aren't that good. It's 0.55, so it's a bit lower. It's not as volatile. It's not that volatile, but its losses are quite a bit higher than its gains, or 0.04. But typically, the green days are higher than their losses typically. We still do have a better risk or performance ratio on a day-to-day, green or red type. We still have a better performance ratio on that. We could decrease our losses, we could increase our losses to negative 1.4, or decrease our gains to 0.9, basically, to have the same ratio as SPY. We don't want to do that. We're already around negative 2, so there's not much. It's just an idea that the amount I'm gaining and losing each day is better than SPY, um, the ratio. And then last week, our difference did decrease. It's you just want it to be positive. If it's positive, that's good. So that's good. And our standard deviation also decreased, so that's good. This is not as great, but our standard deviation decreasing is good. So I mean, this is fine. The lower you can get this, and the if you just want this to be positive. So if you have this positive, try to get the best combination where this is positive and this is the lowest. So I mean, that's what I'm trying to work towards. Over here, transactions almost nothing. I closed the one trade, no day trades yet. Current beta has decreased. Last week it was around 1.2, now 0.95. My goal is to get this around, try to get it. My goal, I don't want to focus on my beta goal right now. I just want to try to get the best performance and then see where my beta is from there. But typically, this is probably if we go higher and higher, right? Your beta is going to be higher. Um, but I mean, it's probably going to be above one. I feel like depends how much we gain this quarter. If we do lose this quarter, then this is probably going to be a bit lower. This is probably going to be around the 0.2 side around there. But we don't even have that much data to compare this against. Only 9 days. Typically at least 15, 2 weeks minimum, or 3 weeks actually. So it doesn't offer much value. Not yet there. And then so negative 1.88 right now. Um, Negative 1 point. I mean, we're almost neutral. Just a bit more volatility. Comparing to other markets and companies have fallen a lot more than the overall SPY. SPY's done surprisingly well compared to other companies. I closed my position, so next week I'm going to be opening a new position. So I hope that goes better. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. See you.